The warm leather of her travel journal always smelled faintly of jasmine, a scent she had picked up in some Moroccan market years ago. It was a familiar aroma, comforting, like her presence in our home. I watched her from across the kitchen counter, the morning sun catching the gold in her hair as she flipped through its pages. A soft smile played on her lips, a smile I used to think was reserved for me. She looked peaceful, content, just like she had yesterday and the day before, just like she had for the last 3 months. For 3 months, she'd been different, distant. It had started subtly, a delayed response to a question, a less enthusiastic kiss, a night spent on the couch reading instead of curled up beside me. I had chalked it up to stress, the pressure of a demanding job as a corporate lawyer. But lately, the signs were more obvious, more blatant. The hushed phone calls she'd taken in the other room, the way she tensed up if I touched her unexpectedly, the lingering scent of cologne I didn't wear. "What are you looking at?" I asked, my voice casual, though inside, my heart was thumping like a trapped bird. She looked up, her smile faltering slightly. Just the old trips, reminiscing. She closed the journal, placing it carefully on the counter as if it were a priceless artifact. "You always were a good record keeper," I said, reaching for my coffee mug. "I always liked reading about your adventures." Her smile returned, this time more genuine. "I know. You always said I should write a book." "Maybe you still should," I offered, the words leaving a bitter taste in my mouth. The journal sat there, innocently enough, a silent betrayer. I knew, I felt it in my gut, that something was wrong. I had started sleeping less, the constant churn of anxiety a relentless companion. I found myself replaying our last several conversations, searching for clues, for a reason. That afternoon, while she was at work, I found myself drawn to the journal. I picked it up, the leather soft and yielding in my hands. I started at the beginning, the faded ink recounting backpacking trips through Southeast Asia, a safari in Kenya, a wine tour in Italy. Each entry detailed the sights, the sounds, the emotions of the moment. I could almost hear her voice, young and full of wonder. But the last entry, scribbled in a hurried hand, sent a cold wave through me, causing me to sit down hard in a nearby chair. The entry was dated 2 weeks prior. It wasn't about a faraway land. It was about a local hotel, a place she often said she was staying for work. It was a detailed and intimate account of a clandestine meeting with a man named David, a rendezvous filled with passionate kisses and whispered promises. It described the thrill of sneaking around, the adrenaline rush of forbidden love, a love that was not mine. I read it again, the words burning into my brain. My hands shook as I dropped the journal. I felt like I had been punched in the gut, every last ounce of air knocked out of me. Betrayal, stark and cruel, washed over me. I walked into the bathroom and looked at my reflection in the mirror, a face I barely recognized, a stranger staring back in disbelief. I could feel my blood run cold, the air thick around me. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't a scene from a bad soap opera. This was real. This was my life. I spent the rest of the day in a haze, anger and grief warring within me. I wanted to scream, to break things, to confront her right then and there. But a part of me, a more calculating part, wanted to see it play out. I wanted to watch her squirm. That evening, she arrived home, a cheerful high honey on her lips. She walked over and kissed me on the cheek. Her skin still carried the faint scent of cologne, the one that wasn't mine. I didn't flinch. I didn't recoil. I simply smiled and asked about her day, all the while my mind was running through a plan. Later, as we ate dinner, I placed the travel journal on the table beside her, open to the last entry. "You know," I said, my voice calm, a stark contrast to the storm raging inside me. "I've always admired your writing, especially your vivid descriptions." She picked up her fork, speared a piece of chicken, and brought it to her mouth, her eyes not meeting mine. "Oh, yeah." I took a slow drink of water, watching her, her nonchalant facade that was about to crumble. "Yes, so evocative, so detailed, like this last entry. Would you mind reading it aloud for me?" I took another slow drink of water and watched as the color drained from her face. Her laughter stopped cold as she glanced down, the blood draining from her face as her eyes fell on the words she'd written. Her breath hitched. Her eyes darted up to mine, wide with panic. I don't know what you mean. I just kept staring, my gaze unyielding. Read it, honey, I said. I think you'll find it very enlightening. She tried to play it off, a forced laugh bubbling up in her throat. Really, I'm not sure what you're getting at. You're being weird. She reached for the journal, as if to close it. I took her wrist in my hand, my grip firm and unwavering. Read it, I repeated, my voice low and menacing, the soft facade now completely gone. Her eyes welled up with tears, and she began to shake her head, trying to yank her wrist free. She finally relented, her voice barely a whisper as she began to read the words she'd written, the words that were about to tear apart our carefully constructed life. As she read, the room grew cold. The intimacy of the words, the blatant disregard for our marriage, was nauseating. When she finished, the silence was deafening. Tears streamed down her face, mascara running in black rivulets. She looked at me, defeated, broken. I'm sorry. Sorry. I repeated, the word laced with venom. Sorry isn't going to cut it. You spent the last 3 months lying to me, betraying me. Do you know how that feels? She started to cry harder, making small, whimpering noises. Where is he? I asked, my voice quiet, dangerous. Who? She replied weakly. I slammed my fist down on the table, making her jump. David. Where is he? I don't. She began before I cut her off. Don't you dare lie to me again. I shouted, my voice shaking with rage. She gave me the address, the name of his company. It was all I needed. The next morning, I tracked him down. He worked at a high-end marketing firm downtown, a place he likely frequented while trying to meet women. I parked a few blocks away and waited. I watched as he walked out of the building at noon, a smug expression on his face. He was exactly as she had described, tall, dark hair, and a wide smile, that rare air of self-satisfaction. I followed him as he strolled to a nearby deli and watched him grab a sandwich. He seemed to have all the time in the world. He was not going to have a good day. I waited until he walked back to his car, a fancy silver sports car that screamed, I have money. Come sleep with me. As he reached for the door handle, I grabbed his arm and spun him around. His face went from smug to confused in a heartbeat. He opened his mouth to say something, but the words died when he met my eyes. He could see my rage, and it clearly shocked him. Are you David? I asked, my voice a low growl. He swallowed hard, his eyes darting around nervously, trying to find escape. Yes. I didn't waste any more time on words. I grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against his car. His head cracked against the metal, and he let out a yelp of pain. I pinned him there, my fist cocked back, ready to deliver a blow. You think you can just sleep with my wife? I screamed, spit flying. You think you can just waltz into her life and take what's mine? I delivered a punch to his jaw that sent him stumbling backward. He landed on the ground, groaning, trying to cover his face. He was clearly stunned, not prepared for the force of the blow or the anger behind it. I grabbed him again and threw him against the side of the building, this time ignoring the small crowd that had gathered. I landed several blows to his ribs, each one fueled by the betrayal and pain I had endured. He tried to fight back, but I was too strong, too angry. Each strike I made felt like a piece of the rage inside me was being released. You have no idea what you've done, I hissed, my breath hot against his face. You broke my marriage. You broke my trust. You broke her. And now you're going to pay for it. I left him there, a crumpled mess on the sidewalk. The crowd dispersed, some looking shocked, others a little bit afraid. I didn't care. I turned and walked away, my body still shaking, but a strange sense of calm starting to settle inside me. I didn't look back. When I got home, she was packing a suitcase, tears still streaming down her face. She didn't say a word, didn't even look at me. She simply moved with the silent efficiency of someone who knew their fate. I watched her as she left, suitcase in hand, the faint scent of jasmine still lingering in the air. A few weeks later, she was gone, our life, our home, our future, all reduced to the last entry in a travel journal. A detailed account of a love that never should have been. I was left standing there, picking up the pieces. I had won, but the victory felt empty. The satisfaction that I craved was a hollow thing, a cold reminder of all that had been lost. The world had indeed come crashing down just as I intended, but it had crashed down on me as well.